The deal has been struck. Hamas will release 50 hostages. Israel will free 150 Palestinian prisoners in return. While the maths seems simple, the ratio is skewed. 150 Palestinians for 50 hostages. The first group could be freed as early as tomorrow, but it's not quite as simple as that sounds. The deal was days in making, and it comes after gut-wrenching negotiations. Tonight we tell you what all actually went on behind the curtains and who were these secret men who made this exchange possible. It all began when Qatar approached the United States. Doha wanted to help in negotiating the release of the hostages. Both the parties knew the task would be difficult, almost Herculean, and enormously risky. But they wanted to try to get the innocents back home. And who was going to be a part of this operation? The best minds, the most secretive men. The CIA chief, Bill Burns, U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East, Brett McGurk, and the head of Mossad, David Barnea. This secret cell was established early in October. The head of the Egyptian intelligence, Abbas Kamel, was working closely with this group. It was a top secret operation. Even relevant U.S. agencies did not know of the existence of this secret cell. Their task was to get the hostages home. The team got to work immediately. Qatar was directly dealing with Hamas, so was Egypt's spy chief. They were pushing Hamas essentially to get to the talking table and strike a deal. There was a breakthrough on the 20th of October. On that day, Hamas released 2 hostages. The group got its first victory. But hundreds of hostages still remained in Hamas's custody. There were women, children, toddlers as young as 9 months old. And this special cell had to get them home, ensure that Israel and Hamas can agree on a deal. And things were starting to take shape in late October. There were talks of a humanitarian pause. Israel insisted that Hamas must free all women and children. But first, it needed proof of life, or at least a list of those who are being held captive. Hamas would not agree to either. There was pressure on the secret cell to get Hamas to play ball. Hamas finally agreed on the 12th of November. It offered information on the hostages, their names, their age, gender, nationalities. This was another big breakthrough. There was a broad framework in place. 50 hostages in exchange for a humanitarian pause. The Israeli leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, was under pressure from the US President Joe Biden to take the deal. Bibi agreed, but this is where the story took a turn. After providing details of the hostages, just as the deal was coming to a close, Hamas went dark. It cut off communications. Why? Hamas won't say. Qatar could not get a hold of Hamas, and when the group finally resurfaced, it threatened to derail the talks. The task before the secret cell was about to get all the more challenging. And by this time, the IDF had gone in to raid the Al-Shifa hospital. Hamas demanded that the IDF leave the hospital grounds. Israel declined. And if it was any consolation, it kept the hospital running. For now, that was enough to get the parties talking. But Biden, you see, was in a hurry. Thanksgiving was nearing. The American leader was desperate to get the American hostages home for the annual holiday. Biden placed a call to the Emir of Qatar. Time's up, he said. The deal needs to close ASAP, as soon as possible. The Emir assured Biden that he would get the deal closed. The secret cell was working round the clock. And the next day, the secret cell member and U.S. envoy to the Middle East, McGurk, met with the Emir of Qatar in Doha. They went over the final deal. The text was around half a dozen pages long, by the way. It laid out how women and children would leave in the first phase. It also mentioned incentives for Hamas to release more hostages beyond that. Israel approved the deal with a few changes here and there. The Emir of Qatar then passed it on to Hamas. The Emir made it very clear that this was the final offer. The ball was now in Hamas's court. The fate of the hostages and prisoners depended on how the erratic Hamas would respond. Hamas sent a message to the Qatari mediators. It's a deal. The group would release 50 hostages. The secret cell had got the deal done after days of brainstorming, heated discussions, negotiations. For weeks, you see, the secret cell discussed all aspects of the exchange, the time frame, the number of hostages, safe passage corridors, surveillance. Even after all that, the talks moved at a painfully slow speed. Officials say every step of it was like pulling teeth. Every passing day was a day lost. Israeli and US officials insisted that all women and children should be released first, but a major hurdle was that the cell did not have any information about the hostages. They did not know how many women and children were in Hamas's captivity. They did not know their ages. They did not know which country they belonged to. And how would they? Hamas has barely released any information on the hostages after all. Israel believes there are 240 hostages in Gaza. Hamas says it has hidden the hostages in safe places and tunnels within Gaza. According to the IDF, the hostages include 20 children. The youngest of them is 9 months old. The oldest hostage is 85 years old. This is Raz. She is 4 years old. This is Aviv. She is all of 2. This is Emily Hand, merely 8 years old. This is Gali Tashansky. She is 13. Listen to what her grandmother is going through.
I'm in there together with Gali, inside that tunnel. From the moment we've known Gali was in the tunnel, we are in the tunnel. I can't eat because I know that Gali can't eat. And I can't breathe because I know Gali can't breathe. And everything that needs to be done, I know she can't. And when I go to sleep at night, I tell myself, how can I sleep in a bed with a clean bed sheet? And where is Gali lying now? Who's asking her how she is? Who's hugging her? So we are also in the tunnels with her.
And there's one person whose 7 family members have been taken by Hamas. Can you imagine their pain?
Sleep, I need to take sleeping pills, strong one, so at least 4 or 5 hours of sleep. If not, I can handle it. Nobody can imagine how we feel, okay? Imagine that your kid instead sleep in the bed with blanket and it's underground, deep. It's deep tunnels. 3 years old. My granddaughter, she's loved to jump all the time, trampoline and the couch, and she's very happy. There is a baby, 11 months, that need to start to work.
Only 50 of these hostages will be released over the next 4 days, and we don't want to count the eggs before they hatch. It's a fragile deal after all. And what about the remaining hostages? The task before the special cell is to get them out as well. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.